All right, now that we've integrated postRobot, we are going to demonstrate how we can troubleshoot the library using Chrome DevTools. So let's navigate to our postRobot integration that we did in the previous exercise and open up Chrome DevTools and go to the Console tab and take a look at the logging. We'll see that postRobot logs all requests and responses to the console. Each of the log entries contains the following lines. You'll see the first line, post-robot, kind of identifies that it is a postRobot log. You'll see the window type, which kind of designates where the log originated from. So if you see full page, that's kind of like probably your parent window. You could also see it say iframe. You could see it say lightbox or pop-up as well. And then you'll also see the URL of the window. So that's the URL that actually did the logging. So in this first log line here, you'll see that it was logged on localhost 8080 postRobot login, not our login. So that means that it was actually logged on the parent page. And then the second line, you'll see a send or receive on the first parameter. The second one, a request, a response, or an ACK. Then you'll see the message name. Then you'll see the domain that was given. So this means that this was a send, so postrobot.send, and it was a response to the send. And then the message name. So the message name is, what name we gave it. For this example, this message is the email message that we were sending back and forth. And then finally the domain that was given to the post message. And then you'll also see underneath all that the message and object form. So you'll actually see the event that is passed back in postRobot, and you can go into that object and look around if you want to. It looks a lot like a post message event, but it is a little bit different. You'll also see that the data there, you can view the data in the log itself. So I'm just going to switch back over to our training app so we can actually see one live. And then I'm going to refresh. All right, so now you'll see the logs from our actual training exercise. And you'll see postRobot full page. So this log was initiated on the actual login.html, so this page, not the iframe, and it was a send requested the email message. And we can see the data that was sent, and obviously we sent the message test@awesome.com. So then we'll go down to the next log here, and we'll see the full page, and this is from the login.html, and we'll see the getUser request. And then we'll see the data that was returned, which is actually undefined. Or no, we didn't send any data because this is an actual send. We didn't send any data, so the data is undefined. So now let's look for the next getUser and see if we can find the actual response. So here on the iframe, we actually received the request for getUser. That's just stating that we actually received it. So now getUser, we are sending the response back to the parent page. And here we should see the user object for the data, which we do. The email is undefined. If I actually had been logged in here, we would see the user come back. So see the email come back, the name. And then the final log should be when the parent actually receives it. So you'll see the full page, which is the parent, the login HTML, which is the parent page, received the response from the getUser message. And we can actually view the data here as well. Awesome. So there's a lot of good information that we can get out of these postRobot logs. All right. We'll see that we just kind of went through and looked at it, but we see that postRobot's going to put a log in every single time the parent sends an email message to the iframe, every time the iframe receives the message, every time the iframe sends the response to the parent, and every time the parent receives the response from the iframe. So each message that postRobot sends is going to have 4 logs associated with it. So once again, we can also see the payload of the messages. We already went through and looked at the log from the exercise, and we went into the data, and we could see the actual data that was sent between the parent and the iframe on the getUser message. And once again, knowing your way around these postRobot logs is going to be greatly beneficial when debugging applications that are built on postRobot. Just being able to see that communication when it's happening and the data behind it is invaluable when you're actually troubleshooting. All right. So postRobot webpack. Most of the libraries PayPal creates use webpack, which makes it a little easier to troubleshoot. If we open our Chrome DevTools and go to the Sources tab, we'll see webpack : / that we can expand. So what webpack is just a way to package JavaScript files that are and make it kind of compatible in the browser using more of a Node.js way of being able to require or import the files. So webpack will put a webpack : / portion in the sources tab so we can actually see how the webpack was actually built. So the tilde folder is reserved for the library's dependencies. So anything that the library depended on would be in the tilde folder. So we'll see that postRobot has one dependency and is including functionality from the sync browser mocks library. Most other libraries, you'll see a lot more dependencies here. So the other folders are where the source code to the actual library lives. And this is where we can set breakpoints to troubleshoot the library. All right. So let's say we're having a problem when our messages are sent and the logs in the console are not enough information. We want to set a breakpoint to stop execution in the send function. So how do we do that? So let's go ahead and pause the video for a couple minutes, and you can try and find the send message function in the postRobot library using Chrome DevTools and set a breakpoint to stop execution in that send message. And then we'll pick back up and go over the actual answer. All right, if you haven't paused the video to set your breakpoint, go ahead and do it now because I'm about ready to go over the actual answer. So how we're going to do this, we're going to go to the Sources tab. We're going to hit Control P or Command P if you're on a Mac. We're going to type send and select the first file, which is source drivers send index.js. And we're going to put a breakpoint in the promise that is returned from the send message function. And then we're going to refresh our page, and our app should stop at the breakpoint, and we can actually look around. So I'm going to do that now. So I'm going to go to the Sources tab. I'm going to open up Webpack, and I'm just going to look around real quick, show you what we saw in the images, but you'll see the tilde folder here and the source as well. I'm going to search all the files for send, and it's actually sendindex.js. And then we'll see the send message function. So this is where postRobot is actually sending its messages. So I'm going to set a breakpoint here on line 27. So now I'm going to refresh my browser. You'll see that Chrome stopped the application right at the breakpoint. So here we can kind of look around a little bit. And I'm just going to show you some quick things we can do, when we pause on a breakpoint. We can hover over things to see their values. So inside of message, send message, we see that when is this, which is actually a JavaScript window. We see that message is this. So this is the message that was sent. And we see that it's postRobot ready. So this is setting up that initial connection between the iframe and the parent page. And then we'll see the domain. We can also view any other ones. So we see that message here is this object. Now anything below this may not, well, it looks like it is defined. So we can see a lot of good information in here. We can also see a call stack of how we actually landed in this send message function. So we started here and then we stopped here. So we can go through all of these functions to figure out how we actually got to where we are. We can see any of the local or global variables that are accessible at this exact point. And we can also use the console to execute things as if we were right here in the application. So if I went to the console, actually we'll just do it right. Yeah, let's go to console. I just did message. It should tell me what message is. So because I am paused at this point in the application, when I type message, it actually outputs this variable right here. If there was a function, I could actually execute it. All right, and now I can use the step, which takes me to the next portion. So normally when you're troubleshooting, you will just keep stepping through until you actually find where the error is, and then you can troubleshoot farther once you actually find where the error is. For this troubleshooting exercise, we're going to use the step function to step forward until the level variable on line 32 is not defined. And then I want you to find what the value of level is when it becomes not undefined. I also want you to figure out what the value of config.mock_mode is. And then what the value of config.allowed_post message method.postRobot_global is. And then I want you to set a breakpoint in the next promise to see what strategy name is. Click the play button to stop in that next promise, and then see what the value of strategy name is. So you should now pause the video and take a couple minutes to try and do this on your own, and then we will pick back up and go over the answer here in a couple minutes. All right, if you haven't paused the video already, please do so now. So I'm about to go over the answer for this troubleshooting exercise. All right, so I'm going to switch back over to our application. I'm already paused here, and now I am going to step until the value of level is not undefined. So we can see the value of level is currently undefined. So I'm going to step until it's not. Still, it's undefined. There we go. Now it has a value. You'll actually see right here that level is now debugged. You don't even have to hover over it. And that's because level actually changed. All right, so the value of level is debug. All right, so next question was, what is the value of config.mock_mode? So in order to get that, I can just hover over config and see what that is. You can see right there, mock mode is false. You could also hover over the mock mode and see that the actual value here is false. Next question was, what is the value of the config.allowed_post_message_method.postRobot_global? All right, so let's find that. I can hover over my config. And I see postRobot global is true. Right here. All right, and then it says set a breakpoint in the next promise to see what strategy name is. And then click the play button to get to that breakpoint. So if we look down, we see that we're actually returning another promise, and that strategy name is actually part of that. All right, so we'll see strategy name here. You see we can't really hover over it and see it because really it hasn't done anything yet. There is no strategy name. So I'm going to put a breakpoint here on line 71 or 73. Either one would work. And then I'm actually going to run our application by pushing the play, which is going to run it until we get to that next breakpoint. So I hit play and it runs to here. So now I wanted to see what strategy name is. And strategy name is post_robot_post_message. So that's typically how you can troubleshoot different parts of the application. You can definitely just keep hitting the step button for a very long time to get where you want. But when you're using a lot of asynchronous methods, a lot of times you'll end up in like a promise.js file that is pretty much never ending. So if you know the next place you want to jump to, it's usually easier just to set another breakpoint and continue until you hit that breakpoint. Boom. So now we're down in here, which is the promise resolving. Now I stepped again and success should have a value, which is true. It was undefined before. Status is undefined. Now if I step again, probably one more time, we'll see that status is this nice thing. All right. So that is it for troubleshooting postRobot. You'll find that being able to troubleshoot not only this library, but just the ability to set breakpoints and get to where you want in your application will be very valuable when working with checkout.js and other PayPal products. So that's it for the postRobot training portion. The next videos will be over another PayPal library called Xcomponent.